So we've seen multiple countries put all kinds of conditions on arms sales to Israel and restrictions. I'm talking about Western countries, France, Britain, and now America has written a letter to Israel saying that if certain conditions aren't met, they're going to have to review their arms sales. I want to show you the words of Melanie Phillips, who has said Israel cannot be permitted to defend itself in her interview on trigonometry.
Whatever Israel does to defend itself cannot be permitted.
Yes, this is what I've noticed. This is the thing that's been bothering me, because this is the bit I don't understand.
Okay, so
why is it that when Israel does, if this had happened in Britain, on a per capita basis, 35,000 people killed or captured and taken as hostages, or in America, we would have bombed the shit out of anyone who had stood next to the dog of the guy who did it. We would have turned countries into rubble.
That's right.
And yet when Israel targets pages, that's indiscriminate. Why?
Why
is that?
Various things are happening. First of all, even among people who are sympathetic or think they're sympathetic to Israel, including the British government, there is this very deeply felt view that Israel is fundamentally the problem in the region. If Israel wasn't there, there wouldn't be a problem. That's what they all think.
That's true.
And consequently, Israel has to be basically, if Israel is the problem, then Israel has to be stopped. And if Israel is defending itself, it becomes aggression. Because if Israel wasn't defending itself, there wouldn't be a war. Of course there wouldn't be a war. Every Israeli would be killed. Okay? But of course, those people who are saying this don't follow that logic through. But that's effectively what they're saying. So there's that. Israel is perceived as the problem because of an entirely false view of history in which Britain was complicit. Britain is actually the cause of Israel's beleaguerment because it was Britain in the 1930s, having been handed this internationally binding obligation to settle the Jews for their national homeland throughout what is now the State of Israel, West Bank, and Gaza, reneged on it. And faced with the Arabs who were trying to slaughter every Jew as a matter of Islamic holy war, because no Jewish homeland could be permitted in that area, from their point of view, faced with that uprising, Britain didn't say, "Excuse me, Arab world, this is not on." Britain said, "Oh, Arab world, have part of what we're giving to the Jews instead. Have it. You can have it." And the Arabs said, "We want it all. We want the Jews gone." And the rest is history. Britain continues to maintain that position. So in fact, you could say Britain is actually at the heart of this problem. Anyway, there is this, as I say, fundamental belief in the British ruling class and the Western ruling class and the Western intelligence that Israel is the problem. But it's something deeper than that I think you're kind of hinting at. There is a view that the Jews are the problem. And this view is, I was going to say buried, but I don't mean concealed. I mean it is a kind of fundamental part of Western culture that what I'm talking about is anti-Semitism. But the part of anti-Semitism which says the Jews are fundamentally a threat to everybody else, because fundamentally they have a kind of demonic power. This is true anti-Semitism. The Jews have a kind of demonic power because there are so few of them, but look how powerful they are. They're behind capitalism. They're all lawyers. They're all TV moguls and so on. And so the idea of Jewish power, if you look at anti-Semitism throughout the centuries, Christian anti-Semitism, racial anti-Semitism, there is this paranoia, clinical paranoia about Jewish power. I say it's clinical paranoia because it's untrue. It's based on nonsense. The Jews are the most persecuted people in history. How can they have demonic power? But nevertheless, there is a belief. The Jews and power, that is the problem. You have Israel. Israel is powerful. Israel has made itself powerful on the basis that only if Israel has military power can it fulfill its sacred oath that never again will the Holocaust happen.
Melanie, do you...
And so that's my point. That cannot be permitted. You cannot have Jewish power. And so the idea of Israel defending itself with massive power because it's facing a massive threat to itself from forces who are literally billions of people in the Arab and Muslim world who wish it to be destroyed, that cannot be because it's Jewish power. I feel that very strongly, and that's part of the wider problem of anti-Semitism that we're seeing.
It's so interesting. Melanie really talks about the two components that drive this hostility to Israel, saying that they can't do what they need to do. Think about it. You've got, on the one hand, Jews are very powerful, and then on the other hand, you've got this belief that actually the Arabs have the right to the land, which, as she said, the British kind of sowed the seeds of. So you couple those two things together. You've got Jews are sinister and powerful, and you've got Jews in a land that really actually belongs to the Arabs, at least in part. Put it together, Jews are going to look oppressive, evil, just dictatorial, and all these bad traits that the West says it hates, the bullies, all that. And Melanie's right in saying that the British actually did play a bit of a role in creating and fostering this sense that the Arabs have really the right to be there. That the land of Judea, where two ancient Jewish kingdoms were, is actually a land that Arabs are indigenous to, which of course is not true. And of course that is what festers this problem today, this notion that somehow these powerful Jews are usurpers of a land not theirs. No, Jewish people are the indigenous, ancient, historical inhabitants of the land. And they always moved there and came back to that land peacefully through legal purchases of land, through peaceful settling. And it was only in Israel's War of Independence when the United Nations said, okay, let's split the land in two because we've got Jews and Arabs living there. It was only then, and when the Arabs went to war against the nascent Jewish state, the Arabs then got displaced. Not because of anything that the Jews did and started. It was the fact that they tried to kill the Jews, and the Jews had to respond and defend themselves. And in that defensive war, Arabs got displaced. Actually, largely because, according to first-hand reports, because many Arab armies told them, leave your homes and come back once we've killed the Jews and killed off the Jewish state. So I think Melanie's right. She's getting to deeper roots of why it is that Israel isn't really allowed to win this war, because there's this sense that they're in the wrong. There's a sense that they're powerful and that they're disproportionately so. And so that's why it's so important that ultimately we tell the truth about the Jewish people's historic, biblical, and legal, by the way, connection to this land. And that any of the issues they lament, displacement, occupation, security barriers and checkpoints, the war in Gaza right now, all of those things are self-inflicted by an Arab leadership that's trying to annihilate the Jewish state. If you've made it so far in this video, I have a request for you. JTV has been having a really big impact in spreading the truth about Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people, Judaism, and Israel. We've really grown a lot, particularly in the last year, and we're having a really significant impact, both for Jews and non-Jews. But I really want to take JTV to the next level so we can start to compete with the other big online media beasts that are often peddling anti-Israel content. And the way we're going to do that is to scale even faster. So I'd love to build a team where we have other presenters doing shows like me. Let's start doing documentaries, supplementary content, animated content, etc., etc. And to do that, I'd like to build a bit of a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one fundraising day, just one, where we try and build up some funding in order to fund such a team. Now, to do that, it's going to obviously require people to get involved. And I'm wondering if you would consider, if you're watching JTV content and appreciate what we do and want to help partner with us in taking this to the next level and spreading the truth farther and wider than ever before, I wonder if you'd consider partnering with us simply by running a mini page on the fundraiser that we do, where you just reach out to your contacts on that day that we choose to fundraise and see if they'll all chip in. If you'd be up for doing that, of which I would be so grateful, then please click on the Google form link in the video description of this video, where you can simply just put in a few contact details. It'll be a very small commitment, as I say, literally just one day that we'll all agree upon as a collective community. But the impact is going to be so big. There's such strength in numbers. If we all pull together and do this, we can take this to the next level. And as I say, all of us can partner together in bringing and spreading the truth to the whole world. So please do consider clicking on that link, filling in the form, and I'll be in touch very soon to talk about the next steps. Small commitment, but a big impact. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.